Chronicles TV on air. We are now live in 3, 2, 1. Welcome back to another episode of the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles. In the previous episode, we completed the robots testimony. Today's episode right now, we got one final testimony, and that's the Dr. Scythe herself. If you're hot today's episode, make sure to like button spoilers to the channel. It all began at the scene when I saw the waxwork and the note tucked inside the jacket. The actual body of the victim, as indicated in the note's instruction, was beneath the experimentation stage. The body had to be arranged in certain ways to implicate the defendant, which was my job. I enlisted the help of the entire forensic investigation team to address the scene appropriately. The truth about the execution 10 years ago, state secret of the highest level. I had to protect it. Nobody else at Scotland Yard knew anything about it, I assure you. We must be thankful for small mercies, I suppose. Well, I believe that testimony has clarified everything. There's no particular need for cross-examination, I would say. No, I disagree. I can't shake the feeling that something's wrong. Just look at the expression on Dr. Scythe's face. It's the difference. The defense is right to cross-examine any witness following testimony. What is it about you Japanese that makes you all so doggedly persistent? Racist! Very well. If you so desire, counsel, proceed with the cross-examination. Yes, my lord. The Waxwork Plot. It all began at the scene when I saw the waxwork and the note tucked inside the jacket. The actual body of the victim, as indicated in the note instruction, was beneath the experimentation stage. The body had to be arranged in certain ways to implicate the defendant, which was my job. I enlisted the help of the entire forensic investigation to address the scene appropriately. The truth about the execution 10 years ago is a state of secret highest level I have to protect it. Now let's go through it. From what you described before, it sounds like the note was anonymous. Did you have any idea who was behind it? There are very few people in the know about what really happened 10 years ago to start with. But anyway, I never heard of this engineer. So no, I had no idea. Yet despite not knowing who was behind the plan, you went along with it. I had no choice. Protecting the professor's secret was my only concern. But the horse has bolted now, and the stable door will never shut again. Scotland Yard's reputation will be immensely damaged as a result of all of this. Yes, thank you, Lord Von Sykes. I'm well aware of that. So I understand it that what you found in the birdcage was the Waxwork motto, where then was the victim's body? The actual body of the victim, as indicated in the note's instructions, was beneath the expectation stage. Wait, go back. I was just reading through. Hold it! So you knew about the special construction of the stage used to carry out the trick then? It was quite obvious what happened with the victim and the waxwork. And you switched the two over, didn't you? In other words, you recorded the victim's body as having been discovered in the crystal tower in the waxwork. I suppose you were focused on the victim's body, that being more important detail. The body had to be arranged in certain ways to placate the defendant, which was my job. When you say arranged, I presume you mean with this? Yes, the instructions in the engineer note said something along the lines of fabricate some evidence to make it clear that Harebrain alone could have killed Osmond. So, you mean that was your doing? I fetched Harebrain's ridiculous screwdriver from the stage, and took it with me alone to the abyss under the stage where the birdcage had fallen. Wait a minute! So you mean that was your... Oh, okay. Fabricate. Alone, Doctor? I didn't feel it would be appropriate to involve anybody else in the particular part of the deception. There was a void under the stage where I found the birdcage lying in the dirt. I approached it, leaned down, and slowly opened it up. Ayy! Then I took the screwdriver in both hands. That's one hand. Okay, both. Then I clutched the screwdriver in both hands and clutched the man's chest. And then you noted that in your fake autopsy report, as a fictitious cause of death. Exactly. So, the actual cause of death was the trauma resulting from the 30-foot drop. My word. What is it, Mr. Sato? Something about Dr. Scythe's last statement. It's playing on my mind, that's all. Yes, mine too. Dr. Scythe! There's really no need to shout. I can hear you perfectly well. The defense calls for you to add what you just said to your formal testimony. Oh, which part? What I want to hear to supplement your testimony with is... the real cause of death being the fall of 30 feet apart. Fine, if that's what you want. Just stop yelling, please. The prosecution concurs. Very well, you will supplement your testimony now, witness. I bet if we were to press on that... I wonder if we press on that, it's gonna give us the other option again. The actual cause of death was a neck trauma. Suffered from the 30 feet fall. So we know that... this was a lie. Hemorrhage wound. Cause of death, hemorrhage of a wound to the chest that pierced the heart, inflicted by a sharp implement. Additional observation, a broken vertebra, most likely resulting from impact after a sudden fall from a considerable height. Wouldn't that be the cause of death as the inconsistency? Because she says what really caused it was the neck trauma. And suffered from the 30-foot fall. I enlisted the help of the forensics, blah blah blah. The entire team in perverting the course of justice? My team consists of very best investigators. I demand loyalty from all members. We operate in the code. You aid and abet a murderer, commit perjury, and dare to talk chivalry. It was a matter of priorities. What? Nothing was more important than protecting the secret of the professor. My team did what necessary without losing sight of the primary goal. I considered their conduct exemplary. Don't concede the point, Mr. Naruhodo. You mustn't let her win. I need a lawyer. I'll take the silence as tacit acceptance now. We can move on. The truth about the execution of users is the state of secret highest level I have protected. But at what cost? Faith in Scotland Yard is going to suffer a terrible blow as a result of this. And your precious secret is out now anyway. Yes, as you say, and I take full responsibility. Blow me down, Dr. Scythe! Surely there was some other way you could have protected the secret. No, there really wasn't. I've done my utmost believe me. In many ways, I respect your determination. Ew, I really froze under that cold stare as she said that. I do believe she was being genuine though, Mr. Naruhodo. So that's her story. She's admitted everything and revealed her full involvement in the crime. I do wonder if there could be really much more to it. Well, I don't know, but I just have a feeling. Do you, Mr. Naruhodo? The truth is, if I find it strange too. How those two are reacting to this is completely opposite ways, I mean. Yes, exactly. For some reason, I feel sure they're still trying to hide something. Save it. We're gonna try on the course of death. The cause of death. If not, then I might be actually screwing something up. I mean, that is kind of true. No one's gonna survive off it that much tall. Where the heck is it?
Objection!
Nope.
Hold it!
There's no point in calling something into question without evidence. Let's get back to testimony. Very well. I enlist the help of the forensics. Let's see. So we got that. Let's see. You're quite sure it was a result of broken 8? Yes, the profession level was more apparent. You need never know just by looking at the photograph of the victim though, would you? Well, that's very true. I was not, which is precisely why the coroners are needed to determine the actual fact. There's no point calling or something into question without evidence. Without evidence. What will we assume then? That he was still alive during the time? Was there anything else that we can use? Oh, how would she open it is the question. We already got that. Can we go back to the other one?
Hold it!
And see if it changes anything? Oh, do we have to go through this? Again? Fabricates of it. Do we have to go through this again? Hold up, we may have to jump cut it, just in case. Oh, we're going through this again, boys. Oh, we don't have to go through that terrible cutscene, huh? Everything was all cinematic at some point. Yeah. Dr. Scythe, what you said before about what you did to the victim's body, I believe that may be significant, so could you change your supplementary statement to explain it instead? Very well. I stood over the victim's corpse where it lay in the top cage and plunged a screwdriver into the chest. So it was you who stabbed Osman with this? Yes, far easier than dissection, I assure you. No precision required. What a welcome change. The victim died instantly from a snapped neck. All I did was carry out the instructions I'd been given. As unflinching as ever, no doubt. I imagine you didn't bat an eyelid when you drove the weapon into his body. There was no need to bat my eyelids. And what else did you do to twist the facts? Remind the court, why don't you? If you wish. I got nothing, Chief. I really don't. I'm drawing blanks. I say that every damn time. I'm drawing blanks. I stood over the victim's corpse where it lay in the top of the cage. How would she reach is the question. That's the thing. How could she reach it? Unless it's really that big, surprisingly. At this point, I'm gonna jump cut it because I'm gonna play some dumb answers right now because I have no idea what I'm doing. I really don't. I can't think what the heck I'm gonna do.
Objection!
That was actually right? That was actually right. I got a nasty feeling that this inconsistency points to extremely unfortunate, uncomfortable truth. I was right? That was the first guess I made on after that statement. Okay. I had no idea where I'm going this, but let's go. I apologize, my lord. Dr. Scythe, in that last statement of yours, there's just one point. That seems to be the fine explanation. Out with it, my learned friend. There's obvious inconsistency between your description and the photograph. Is it the facial expression? Which shows the victim of the wreckage following the events that led to his death. Oh, the glass! That's right. The court has already examined the photograph in depth. There's nothing new we can learn. The glass! Yes, we have already considered it. That's true. But we have now know the facts to be different. What do you mean? I believe we should let the defense explain. What the photograph would see is alleged with the statement. Is it the glass?
Take that!
The point that makes no sense is the one being made at the very moment by your index finger. Okay, I got nothing. Okay, my next guess is the facial expression. Because he looked like he was still alive that time. I know, and hearing that is when I thought, got it! But then somehow I lost my train of thought at the last moment. That's what it was. Yeah, it'd be like that sometimes. Okay, my first guess was the facial expression. The second guess is the glass because she said that he fell down 30 feet from somewhere, so... Other than that, I have no idea what else. The facial expression? I don't know. Yeah, I knew it. Hey, like I said, I got it right the first try, but I have no idea what I'm trying to go with. The blood?
Take that!
Okay. It clearly extends in downwards direction towards the man's feet. It is? Why is it significant, Counsel? If the victim was stabbed moments before the kinesis machine was set in motion, that's entirely expected. Oh, of course, no. Wait, who's talking that? Oh, yeah. Exactly, my lord. Dr. Scythe made it very clear in her testimony just now that the point at which she stole Professor Harebrain's screwdriver and stabbed the victim was after the grand deception was set in motion, when the birdcage had fallen below the stage of sight. From the shape of it, it's clear that the birdcage would have fallen on the side of 30 feet drop, and the victim had really been stabbed well inside the birdcage in that position. The blood from the wound would have spread out equally in all directions. For it to have formed the logic true appearance we see in the picture, it's inconceivable. Given that the victim's blood seeped vertically downwards from the wound, it must have been the case that when you stabbed Mr. Hudson, he was standing up. In short, Dr. Scythe, your latest testimony was a total fabrication. I gave up at some point. I had no idea what the heck was going on. I knew it. I was right. Now I've identified the contradiction. There's only one way to explain the facts. We've all been under a great misapprehension here. What? What sort of misapprehension? Dr. Scythe, you claim you were coerced into helping Mr. Drebber as a result of the note he left in the waxwork. You claim that you made changes in the scene of the crime to implicate the defendant. And you claim that you authored the fake autopsy report to cover your tracks. But one of those claims is an out-and-out lie, because the question of what the bloodstain really tells us has only one possible answer. If that is the case, what is it, man? I'm down to two. You clearly struck upon a revelation. Now tell us what it is. Which part of Dr. Scythe's story is shown to be a lie by the contradiction in his testimony? I don't know anymore. I gave up after figuring out that weird thing. The answer is very simple. If you consider the sequence of events, when the victim was stabbed, the blood from the wound would seep downwards as it did. We can be sure that the victim must have been either sitting or standing upright at the time. But as you rightly pointed out, the birdcage would have fallen on the side when it fell beneath its cage. Yes, it would, which tells us that the victim must have been in the position of his own accord.
Objection.
That's impossible. The man was dead, remember? No, that is misapprehension. When the birdcage fell from the stage into the void below, it must have hit the ground with a considerable force. Considering the facts, but Mr. Osmond didn't die in the fall. In fact, He probably lost consciousness for a while, but when he came around, he got to his feet to climb out of the cage. Just as Dr. Scythe appeared. If the victim was in fact alive at the point in time, it changes everything. I mean, that cage looks a little bit too big, don't you think? Mr. Adi Osmond killer wasn't defended, Professor Albert Halbrain, nor was it the mastermind behind the stage trickery, Mr. Enoch Streber. It was you, Dr. Courtney Scythe. Well, she did admit about the freaking who killed who, but how did she kill them is the question. Order! Can this possibly be true? Have you been taking me for a fool? It was you, was it? You killed him? What's going on over there? You hoped that by admitting to and being an accomplice in Mr. Drebber's scheme, the trial would end. Before you were accused of a far worse crime. Cold-blooded murder. Oh, do shut up! You do desperate now. You're making all this up as if I would do something like that.
Objection!
I assure you, the defense is not desperate, Doctor. Mr. Naruto has established the facts using evidence and logic alone. Ha! Logic? Don't make me laugh. Sadly, your logic has a gaping hole in it. What? What do you mean? I had thought it was obvious. A motive, boy. You're lacking a motive. What possible reason would I have to kill Mr. Osmond? Osmond was involved in any number of criminal activities, from coercion to theft to murder, but there's no known connection to Dr. Scythe there. I'm rather relieved to say it does seem somewhat far-fetched. True, there's no obvious motive, but there's still something in the back of my mind. The professor? I feel sure I've seen something somewhere that hints all this why the coroner might have done this. Yes, I might have tampered with the crime scene and coerced a fake report, but murdering someone for no reason is a very different story.
Objection!
No, when you question what possible reason you could have for wanting to kill Mr. Osmond, something did come to my mind. What? What was it, Counsel? Enlighten the court at once. Yes, we saw it yesterday, didn't we? We did? Something that seemed strange, but we had no reason to suspect it at the time. We did? There's a particular object that explains why Dr. Scythe would have wanted to kill Mr. Osmond. The scalpels? Are we talking about the scalpels, the 500 a month? It's a scalpel, or rather, scalpels. Did you say scalpels? It would appear that the word has struck a chord, Doctor. You, come out with it. It was yesterday when we visited your laboratory. Look at this big thick book here. Ah, it appears to be an accounting ledger. It's a record of forensic investigation and spending, I think. Oh? What is it? It's clear that the team purchased various equipments and supplies on a monthly basis, but... well, one entry seems rather strange. Really? In what way? They're buying 500 scalpels every month. What would you need 500 for? Oh, a financer. 500 scalpels a month? She needed money. At first I wondered what on earth you could be using that many scalpels for. But actually, I realize now it's not the scalpels themselves that are significant, it's how much she can afford. It's the money for them, disappearing every month from the department's accounts. Osmond's criminal organization relied heavily on extortion for its funding, tracing the money from their forensic investigation team account to find out where it was going would be extremely straightforward. 10 years ago, when Mr. Osmond was still a journalist and wrote this article about Mr. Drebber, he may well have stumbled upon information as he was researching the story. Information relating to Dr. Scythe's darkest secret that he would seem to use to rack money from her for the next decade. Her darkest secret? Good lord, you mean? I don't know what happened on the night of that execution 10 years ago, but clearly the opportunity to rid yourself of that menace was too tempting to pass up. So in the end, you weren't coerced at all, were you? You did it entirely of your own free will. You stabbed Mr. Osmond in the heart with all your might. To silence the blackmailer who knew your dark secret forever. Stealing money? You'll never understand. None of you. What we've had to keep cover up all these long years. I just want to see the face of the prisoner. That's it. That's who I want to unmask. I just want to unmask the guy. That's it. As very little of the machine remains after it was ripped apart by the bomb, the truth of this case can never be properly established unless you speak out. And if you decide not to, it's very possible that Courtney Scythe will escape punishment for her crimes. Please, sir, own up to what you've done, and tell the court the truth about what happened. Please don't tell me there's a bomb here. 10 years ago, you told the truth, and you were robbed of the bright successful future as a result. I can certainly understand your bitterness and your consternation now. However, this is surely the chance you've been waiting for to sever the hold that fate's had over you for all these years. Super high voltage instantaneous kinesis, I mean. Really? It's the adult brain mock scientists that are the worst, you know. They don't recognize the fact that they don't have talent. They can't even get that right. And so they end up chasing impossible dreams, having unbridled faith in their abilities. They go on and on about their wonderful hypothesis, their stupid eyes shining like a little child's. They make me sick. I can't abide their foolishness. Careful, Mr. Drebber. I was particularly pleased with the kinesis machine. It made for a quiet show, didn't it? So you admit it. You admit that it was nothing more than a sham made for the purpose of killing the victim. Yes, I admit it. I did it all in the name of revenge. Revenge for the future that Mr. Osmond's article had deprived you of 10 years earlier? But the revenge you saw didn't stop the Osmond, did it? Which is where that very particular waxwork comes in. Yes, I see. The condemned convict that you saw rising from the grave in Lowgate Cemetery 10 years ago. If your account of those events was all true, then obviously Scotland Yard couldn't afford to acknowledge what had happened. Even if it meant to discrediting a bright young man and crushing any future career he might have had. So your plan required that you abduct a particular waxwork model in order to exact your revenge on Scotland Yard as well, or on Dr. Scythe to be precise. It was a year ago. By some extraordinary twist of fate, Osmond turned up at my workshop. He didn't remember who I was, of course. He just wanted to employ my services as an engineer. And he happened to have a paper with him. An article on the front page caught my eye. About the coroner who handled the bogus autopsy being appointed head of a new forensic team. When I learned that news, my cognitive process started to devise the plan. What a horrid tale. He robbed me of my future, so I wanted to use that man's own wiles against him for revenge. And have that rotten Scotland Yard eating out of my hand at the same time. I wanted them all to suffer the same humiliation I had to suffer. Your actions against those who ruin your future were justified as revenge, at least to yourself. Certainly, no one has the right to destroy another's prospects, especially for purely selfish gain. And yet, in carrying out your own plan, you did exactly what someone else did, didn't you? Did I? Professor Harebrain's only crime was passion for his hypothesis. But you had no compunction about sacrificing his future to effect your revenge. You knew that he would be forever branded a failure and a fraud. Perhaps life treated you unfairly 10 years ago, and others' misconduct left your life in tatters. But remember this, your own actions result in exactly the same thing for another perfectly innocent young man. Lord Von Zykes, what of Dr. Scythe? An immediate warrant for her arrest has been granted and she's been remanded in custody, my lord. I presume she will face trial in the coming days along with Mr. Drebber. A most regrettable situation indeed. She made great contributions to her profession over the years. It is really hard truth to swallow. However, that is a topic for some future occasion. For now, Professor Harebrain?
Oh, yes?
It seems there was a great deal more to your experiment than you realize. However, I think we can assume now that all the sordid details have been brought to light. This has been a very long and profound trial, but I'm pleased to say you are absolved of all guilt.
This whole experience has taught me a very great but painful lesson. This dedicated scientist, this devotee of natural philosophy. I've been selfish and self-censored, and above all, a fool.
Professor,
I spent my life thinking of nothing but my research, misguidedly believing that I could do whatever I set my mind to, despite my lack of talent. And the worst of it is, in the process, I caused others pain and misery, others who are far, far greater people than I.
No, Professor, that's not true.
What?
Don't tar yourself with the same brush as Drebber. What happened was his doing, and his alone. This alchemist's fate, not yours. You're not to blame in any way.
Lord Von Zykes.
And the derision with which he referred to you earlier, calling you a fool, talentless even. The man has no idea. To believe in yourself and work your fingers to the bone to realize your dreams, that's laudable, not laughable. No one has the right to deride another for such choices.
Oh. Thank you, Barak.
So, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, here we go.